and welcome to Mission Impactful, where we connect with local nonprofits who are making it their mission to create a positive impact. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Thompson-Cusack, President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce and the Nonprofit Network, and most importantly, your host. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. Stay tuned for our very first commercial break, where you can learn how you can rely on Trion. Today on Mission Impactful, we are going to learn about local nonprofit On the Wings of Angels, whose mission is to break the cycle of abuse by fostering healing, self-sufficiency, and empowerment, ensuring that no survivor has to navigate this journey alone. They are committed to empowering and uplifting survivors of domestic violence by providing immediate, tangible support, a strong sense of community, and essential resources without the red tape. Today, we meet with On the Wings of Angels founder, JoJo Dries. JoJo is an author, speaker, and advocate for survivors. Her book, The Lotus, How I Beat the Patriarchy, shares her journey of escaping a toxic and abusive home. So, JoJo, welcome.
Thank you, Tara, for having me here. I'm really honored to be here today.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and obviously we are actually friends as well.
Yes,
so
we are.
It's really great to have you on as a podcast. Just let's talk about how On the Wings got started. I mean, I kind of remember this before it was even put into fruition. So how did this nonprofit get started, and why is it so important to you?
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you. I'm honored to be here. It's a true pleasure. Grateful for the opportunity. So On the Wings of Angels was started because I'm a domestic violence survivor myself. I escaped the abusive situation I was in 14 years ago. And so I'm going to be careful as far as like the details are concerned, but I was abused in every way imaginable. So, sexually, verbally, physically, and all that time, I knew that I had to get out. I knew I had to get out one day, that this was not acceptable. I didn't know how I was going to get out, but I knew I would get out. And in that, I knew I would also help other women get out. My mom was also being abused, is also being abused. And she's kind of like your textbook victim, doesn't really, do anything about it, is in a lot of denial about it. And I think part of that dream to help others was maybe someday I can rescue my mom out of that situation as well.
So you just bring up on the aspect, do a lot of domestic violence victims even know that this is really happening to them? Like, is it really more like they're delusional in the aspect, or is it really that they just think this is what life is now?
They think this is what life is. They think this is acceptable. So my brother told me one time, well, a lot of women have had it worse than you have, seeming like this was acceptable behavior and this is normal for whether it's our culture or our religion or whatever it might have been. And so you're taught that this is just the normal, and an abuser tends to shelter you so much that you don't see the outside world. So a lot of people wonder, like, how is that thought process normal? Well, it's normal for you because you don't know anything better because they've sheltered you so much. So whether it's financial abuse and you're being told, oh no, I'm going to control the credit card and I'm going to control the bank statement and I'm going to control the money in and out, or whether it's, no, you can't go to this event or you can't go to that event. I used to belong to chambers out in Ann Arbor, and I couldn't go to a chamber event or take a chamber member to coffee or lunch unless my abuser was there or knew exactly who I was talking to and what we were going to talk about. So a lot of times you're just conditioned that this is just normal. And then when you're told that there's another world out there, it's hard to process that. Because
it's almost hard to believe.
It's hard to believe.
It's already ingrained in who you are as a person.
Yeah, because that's become your normal. And so for my mom, who came from a very freedom type of a family, like she did not come from an abusive situation. She did know better, but then she fell in love with this man, and then that was their routine. That was what was normal for her. And so she thought I was the crazy one, or I was pushing him, or I was, pushing his buttons or triggering those behaviors, the abuse from my dad. And then my brother, so in our culture and in our religion and that I grew up in, the man is sort of the head of everything.
Okay.
And so my brother sort of took that mantle from my dad and then became an abuser himself. So during all those years, I, for some reason, knew it was like intuitively, I knew something was wrong with this behavior.
Yeah.
So then we had created all these businesses. We were very successful in business. We went from sort of a rags to riches story. And through the years, we started traveling. And when we started traveling, that's when I realized there was a whole nother world out there that I could touch and feel, and I could get out there
and be a part of for that. Because it seems like you weren't ever allowed the opportunity to be a part of something greater.
Something bigger than what we were creating in that house. We were homeschooled, home church, home business. Everything was done in the house so it could be controlled. And then once I started getting those outside influences, I realized there was a whole community out there ready to embrace me. And so I finally escaped 14 years ago, and I jumped without a net, and the net appeared. And that's important because that's what we're trying to achieve for survivors. So when I finally escaped, I didn't have anything. I literally left with the clothes on my back. Like, they didn't allow me to take clothes, my favorite bedroom set, jewelry, heirlooms, anything. And so the community stepped in. I started sharing my story and saying, this is what I went through. This is what I'm going through. I don't know what to do next. I literally was like so immature when it came to the world, right?
Yeah.
Like worldly wise, because I didn't know how to rent an apartment, how to rent a car, what to do.
Well, and who to ask even at this point, because everything was in those walls.
Was in those four walls. And so actually a Troy Chamber member opened his doors and arms to me, and he actually took me in as one of his kids. And he basically taught me a lot about life and took me and gave me a job and, helped me with housing and helped me rent a car and really taught me a lot. So the Chamber is very special to me, just even from day one, the Troy Chamber is. And then we worked down the hall from the Troy Chamber offices, and a lot of the Troy Chamber staff really stepped in and became a community for me. And I say all of that because that's what we're recreating with On the Wings of Angels. I realized when I got out that I needed immediate and tangible things, right? And so there's a lot of nonprofits out there that do a lot of amazing work for domestic violence survivors. But a lot of times what they just need is that simple, well, here's a house payment, here's a rental, here, let me catch you up on your car payments because your abuser has taken all of that away from you.
So that kind of goes back to when we were first reading your bio, you mentioned something about red tape.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of processes people, as much as we love nonprofits and what great things that they do for our community, a lot of times it takes a long time for something to come to fruition. So you brought up the red tape. You're talking about tangible things. Explain what that is to me.
Absolutely. So that's why we founded On the Wings, to give that no red tape opportunity for the domestic violence survivors. So when a domestic violence survivor comes to us and they say, hey, I'm on the porch with my luggage, which this has happened, and my kids are next to me, my abuser's on the couch, passed out, and I've planned this escape, I'm ready to leave. Okay, we're going to get you immediate housing. Let's get you in a hotel. We have deals with hotels around town, all over Oakland and Macomb and Wayne counties, and we'll get them set up in a hotel. All right, now we've gotten their immediate safety need. Then we make a priority list with them. So, of course, we vet them. Please send me your driver's license. But listen, a lot of times these survivors come away with no paperwork because their abuser has hidden all of that somewhere from them. So whatever they can give us, we vet them to the best of our ability. And when you're leaving, you're mostly in fight or flight mode. So it's like, I just need to be safe. And so we help calm them down from fight or flight mode to what is your priorities. Sometimes they don't know what that is. Sometimes they think they need a car, but then really there's a family member maybe who will donate a car. Yeah. They really just need a job, or they need groceries that night. And so whether it's helping them with gas in their car. We had one survivor come to us and she said, I've been driving around for 6 hours. You called me at five hours and 40 minutes in, and I gave myself 6 hours. If you didn't call me within the 6 hour period, I would have gone back to my abuser. Ugh. So it's sometimes that close to safety. We had a call just recently after we were on the news, and the lady was like, I never knew an organization like you existed. What do I do? I literally don't know what to do. Help me figure this out.
Well, I think what's interesting, too, is that it's different because you have firsthand knowledge.
Yes.
So there's something to be said about the fact that they're calling someone who's already been through this. You're not crossing judgment. There's no judgment in the scenarios. There's no saying it's anyone's fault. No. It's saying, let's find a better future. And I think that's something very unique about what you guys do.
Yes, and that's what we created this to be. So 2 years ago when we started, this was supposed to be just a hobby. It was supposed. I remember.
hobby. This is how nonprofits work.
This is how it works. And so it started out as a hobby, and then the chamber members just really rallied around us. A lot of corporate businesses, a lot of, names that you would recognize that just rallied around and said, hey, how can we help? They've donated resources. They've donated, finances, because this all takes money, right? So if I'm paying somebody's security deposit, which, by the way, the no red tape piece also, we can lead a horse to water, or we can help them, right? We can actually teach them how to feed themselves. And that's a big part of On the Wings of Angels, is I'm not just like handing payments out. Our board, our team is very focused on what's next for you as a survivor. We've kept in touch with all of our survivors that we've helped from day one, which has been over 150 women and dozens of children. And to knock on wood, to this day, we have a 100% success rate, because we're teaching them how to succeed. When I left, like I say, literally people had to teach me, okay, this is how you pull your credit. This is how you, operate a bank account. Like, this is how you write a check. They had to teach me these things, and I was 29. So I was not embarrassed to ask. And I'm trying to show these survivors, you don't have to be embarrassed. Let us show you the way so you can succeed on your own.
I love it. Well, and you keep bringing up partnerships.
Yes.
So you're talking through, obviously you mentioned the chamber, which of course we love and appreciate that.
We love you
but
guys.
what is the importance of building partnerships for your organization?
So whether it's in business or the nonprofit industry, a lot of times people are very territorial, right? And
Competition versus collaboration, my biggest pet peeve. So,
right? And so maybe it's different for me because I needed help when I got out. And so I have no problem being humble and asking for help. And so for me, it's about what can I do to serve you? Like, what works for you? And what can you do to help us get to this need? It's also easy for me to ask because I'm not like selling a product. I'm not like, here, buy my book, buy my this, but I'm literally helping people that are living and breathing and working in the communities. And so I've gone to businesses, and that's like my secret to success really, is I've gone to them and said, these are people that you are literally, that are buying your products or serving in your communities. And this is what they need. This could be one of your employees. This could be one of your employees', family members. And so that's what it's been all about. I've been partnering with nonprofits to figure out, okay, this is what we do really well. This is what you do really well. How can we collaborate to give the survivor, the client, the best experience? And then with businesses, for me, I like to promote whoever's helping us.
Of course, yeah.
And so they love that. So it's all about whether it's social media or collaborating on projects together or getting them on the news or podcasts like this, And it's like, how can I help you help me, right? Like what is going to work for the survivor? And I think collaboration is really where it's at.
I mean, there's no egos in nonprofits.
No.
While we have to do that, it's one of those pieces that it truly has to be in the forefront. It's about the people we're serving. So it's those collaborations of, we can't be the experts in everything too. So it is helpful. Well, guys, I think this is a great moment to take a quick break and hear a word from our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. We'll be right back.
My name is Jenny Brown. I am the CEO of Dutton Farm. We are a nonprofit in the behavioral health system. One of the things that we are so grateful for in our partnership with Trion is the absolutely incredible customer service that anytime we have a question or a concern, we can call up the customer service department and we'll get an immediate and effective answer.
And that's why we rely on Trion.
You can always rely on Trion.
Welcome back to Mission Impactful. We are here with JoJo Dries on the Wings of Angels. So, JoJo, we talk about the misconception of domestic violence. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think this is just a private issue. Like, this has to do with a few people, leave it be, give it to the domestic violence kind of nonprofits. But there's a much larger and substantial impact that people aren't really discussing. Do you mind chatting with me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And I sincerely appreciate the question, because I can't tell you how many people came to me after I left and started blasting my story everywhere about my family that said, wow, we knew something was off. Like, we knew something was weird. We sensed there was, trouble in paradise. It looked too perfect. And so a lot of times we see our family members or our friends or kids that, our kids go to school with and their parents, we sense something's off. And to me, my message is always, if you see something, say something. And we have even a PDF document of phrases phrases you can use and phrases to avoid using when you're talking to people about if you feel like something's off in their family.
We're going to ask for that document so we
Okay.
can make sure we have it under the podcast for our viewers.
Absolutely. And so it's 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 7 men has reported to receive some sort of domestic violence in their lifetime.
Wow.
That's what's reported. They say that 44% of this goes unreported. I mean, like, I'm a perfect example. I was 29 when I finally left. We live in the United States of America. I could have left at 18. I could have declared my independence at 18. But I felt so embarrassed to say this is what's really happening behind closed doors because we did look like the perfect family. And so how many people are in the chamber right now that are saying, oh, I wish, we've helped various people in business and in life because they're afraid, like, what if I say something, then I look like this oddball or I have, I have egg on my face. But
Or
no,
I've heard actually even the aspect of, well, I was weak.
Yeah.
I don't want to look weak.
I don't want to look weak.
But you're not
you're
weak.
not.
You're in a scenario that you don't know how to get out of.
To get out of, and that's why people like us exist in organizations. And if it's not us, right, it's other nonprofits. Like, we might be that immediate tangible. You might need more, like, we provide people with mental health support and attorney support, and if you need a therapist, but there might be other resources you need. Like, if you had sexual abuse and you need, like, rape kits done, there's a lot of chamber member nonprofits that provide that. Or if you need safe shelter and you'd prefer to be in a shelter and not do, maybe you don't think you're ready to be completely on your own. We have those referral sources. We're like a conduit to that. But yeah, the statistics are high. If you're sitting at a table at an event and there's 8 or 10 people, imagine half that table has experienced it or knows someone that's experienced it.
That's just sad and awful in itself. But it also does showcase that this is not a small issue.
No.
This is a very large issue. And I think one of the greatest powers is being able, like, you share your story constantly. And I love that aspect. But it's the piece that the more we make this a conversation, the more likely we will see people get help.
And I appreciate this podcast and other people that have me on podcast or the TV or the news or whatever, because to me, it's a very brave conversation. So, the chamber embraced me, like I said, when I escaped, and the chamber's been nothing but supportive. And then when I went, and did this nonprofit 2 years ago, I came to you for a lot of advice. You gave me a lot of advice.
We had some very fun strategic planning. So.
We did. And I've learned from that, and I feel like that's the power of the chamber, is that at the end of the day, this is a large problem. And for you to be able to address that, even like the women's forum events that we do or the nonprofit networking events, we're talking about topics, and that's very brave for a business setting. So thank you for taking leadership and doing that.
You're welcome. No, I'm just teasing.
Seriously, you're taking a leadership position to open this dialogue. It's very important.
JoJo, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, there are a lot of ways people can engage with you, can engage with On the Wings of Angels. Would you mind just closing us out a little bit with ways that people can get involved?
Absolutely. Well, on our website, there's a volunteer form. So if anyone wants to fill that in and you feel like you can volunteer or contribute in some way. But in the nonprofit world, I'll leave you with this. In the nonprofit world, we talk about time, talent, and treasure. So we all have time, we all have talents, and we all have treasure. So if there's one of those pieces of your aspect of your life that you're willing to donate to a nonprofit, whether it's me or somebody else, I ask that you do that. And I ask that you find your passion. So clearly my passion is helping domestic violence survivors. There's a lot of causes out there. Find what your passion is, what your employee's passion is, and give of your time, talent, and treasure. You'd be surprised how great it makes you feel.
JoJo, thank you so much for joining us. And that's all we have here today on Mission Impactful. Special thanks to our guests, JoJo Dries and On the Wings of Angel. I'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. For more information on the nonprofit network or how to join the chamber, go to troychamber.com. We all have the ability to make positive change, and I hope you make it today your mission to be impactful. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.